Greetings, Ani, Bojo, Kwekwe, Tanzi, Scano. It's Catherine and Brian at Moonstarlodge with your Indigenous perspective on all things to do with the paranormal, and we usually use these videos for cartomancy. I've been a tarot and oracle reader since the early 70s, and I'm approaching my 70s, so there you go. Anyway, this week, I think if I were to put a title on this particular video, it would be, It Was a Dark and Stormy Night. It's shadow stuff. I received a deck that was recommended by my friend Heather, who follows this channel. The Gothic Literature Tarot by Syrian Shadow. I wasn't at first attracted to it as much as I like all things Gothic, but it went on sale. I grabbed it and then thought, what was I waiting for? Anyway, we have the Dark Mirror Oracle by Laura Sava, the Ethereal Shadow deck. I'm trying to remember his name, and I am going to make sure Brian has it in the notes. The Deep, Dark, and Dangerous Oracle by Stacy DeMarco. The Mirror Oracle by Amrit Brar. The Journey of a Lonely Soul by, I've forgotten his name too, Anna Majbaroda and Charles Harrington. The Cosmic Pink by Rachel Jean, and the Marigold Tarot by Amrit Brar. I actually used this version of this deck just to have a color other than black, because most of the cards are black. So if you haven't figured it out, it's a week on shadow work. It kind of threw me off that we would be doing that after 2 weeks of botanicals, but we did have this incredible micro full moon just yesterday from when I'm filming this. So it's about making sure that we are done what's done, because this week ends that 5th moon cycle of Listening Woman, and on the 26th we move into Storyteller. In the meantime, we shift to Gemini on the 21st. That's the big thing about this week. So anyway, Brian, if you will, please go to the cards. All right. So here are the Gothic horror tarot cards, and then one each of the clarifiers. For the most part, there's one deck I didn't have space for. And by the way, please, if you can, listen to the end, and I'm going to do a shout out for some recent supporters who I appreciate. Anyway, we start with the 7 of Ravens, which in this deck is the 7 of Swords. There's a need to keep our cards and our swords close to our chest this week. There's a need to be stealthful, surreptitious, if we need to take some things and leave some things behind. This may come across as being a thief. It can also be imposter syndrome. Depends on the individual. This is a collective reading. But we need to really assess and be surreptitious. In other words, don't share what it is that you're intending to do. This feels like a situation that the most of us have been thinking about for a long time, a need to make a move. And with this card, it's in the dark of night, and it's with the sense of things have to shift, but you just don't want people to know about it. It might feel like it's being sneaky, but in fact, it's protective. And part of it is fear of failure, that if we make a move, this is the imposter syndrome part of it, that we don't want people to know that we've tried something and failed. The clarifier for it is the Four of Swords. This is about meditating, resting, needing to recognize that we need to be rested and finished with something, finishing the fight. The fight is the fight within, I think, for most of us. So it's a time to make a shift, but know that you need to be rested in order to do this. Don't do this just haphazardly. It's followed by the Six of Torches, which is Wands, and that's a triumphal return from an adventure. It's the public now being aware that we have been successful in what it is. So we've kept our information from public knowledge, but now the public is celebrating our journey. It's interesting that it's clarified by the concept of the mother. The mother here is an archetype, the one who sometimes is in our face, yelling about our dirty bedrooms, and sometimes the mother just stands back and holds the space for us. This is a mother in spirit. This is an ancestor card or a mothering spirit, not necessarily our actual biological mother. This is the sense of the universal consciousness functioning here as a mother. The mother archetype is protecting us and this journey. She is looking this way. So she has been watching everything that's been going on and being really a silent protectress and guide. The next card here is the Two of Torches. So this is the Two of Wands. This is another decision to be made about a general direction of course. And so we are being presented with options again. You know, we've made a decision, we've done something fairly quickly, which is successful. Now we have another decision to make about a journey or a move, and it's clarified by the Four of Pentacles. In a good way, it's a sign of stability. It's a sign that we have the concept of stability here. This sits beside this mother archetype, but the concept of stability is with us. The negative aspect of this card, which would be, if we were using reversals here, would be stagnation from holding on to our assets too tightly. We have to let flow happen in order to make the right decisions here to move. It is a flow of energy. To hold on too tightly to what we have already acquired on these journeys that have happened, it could cause us to be stagnant and stop our decision making. So it says that clearly for most of us we're not being stagnant, because here is the Three of Torches following the Two. This is a very interesting progression, and this is a well shuffled deck because I've used it all week for myself and others. So the Three of Torches means we are successfully moving onward through. We've made a good choice, we're moving through, and we're just about done. We need to perhaps, to cross that finish line successfully, call on the archetype of the Mage, which is the magician in this deck. So the magician is a little bit smoke and mirrors, a little bit alchemist, a little bit, I was going to say manipulator, and I'm being stopped. One who maneuvers all the elements. So we have the magician archetype here. You are able to pull the rabbit out of your hat, and it isn't necessarily sleight of hand. So the idea here is just a little bit of extra thinking about what would make this journey completely successful. The next card is a major arcana card. It is Judgment. It's interesting. The Judgment here, the card is depicting Victor Frankenstein. The judgment of what has been successful in these journeys. And they're not a lot of long journeys here. They're shorter journeys. The judgment for this is ours and ours alone. I sense that the concept of being surreptitious here was a self-protection because of judgment of others. Here it is, the judgment is ours. And it's clarified here by the Masquerade card. The card that we, when we have a public face, that public face may not represent authentically what we are or who we are. It says here, what I can't have forever, I will have for a minute. What I can have for a minute, I will hold to me for 1 second. Okay. Under the guise of Cupid, I will come to you. Under the guise of a thief, I will fly away. So the idea here is we have to, at times, protect ourselves with masquerades. And here's this reference to thief again, which is often associated with our significator here. So you need to protect yourself. Sometimes it's certainly not honest, but it's not healthy to don a mask. But in order to protect something we cherish, sometimes we have to take on a mask. And that is the protection here for judgment. Then we get the Two of Ravens, which is peace, finding peace and balance. This is the Frankenstein's monster, which is interesting that it follows this card. Finding peace isn't because what we've chosen to do and the journeys we're taking are unconscionable or misdirected or bad, if I can use that. It's not at all. Finding peace and balance with our journey. And I sense that because the Four of Swords has come up twice here, there's a lot of little micro journeys represented in this reading. And it starts with the request for deep rest and deep recovery. And it ends clarifying with deep rest and recovery. We are not in a race here, not with ourselves and not with the people who are around us. So finding peace, getting back to that card, is clarified by Dreamtime Odyssey. So the Dreamtime Odyssey is using astral travel, using meditation, seeding dreams, if you know how to do that, going for the kind of dream which gives you information. So the intuitive stuff and the magician archetype can help with this, bringing in the information from the divine. And the last card of the week is the Six of Skulls, which is the same as the Six of Pentacles. It's giving and receiving, that reciprocity of we must give as much as we receive, or that concept of stagnancy. We need to maintain a balance with it. And that's the same message here as the Four. The balance is everything, and it's clarified by rest. So assets aren't always money. The same here, right? Our assets are not always money. It's health, it's energy, it's food, it's time. Time is an asset that we can't get back once it's lost. This, you can flip the camera, Brian. This is one of those readings that I will keep the photograph from. As you can appreciate, after 5.5 years of doing these, we have an awful lot of readings and an awful lot of photographs. But I don't keep very many at all, maybe half a dozen at the most. This is one I will keep. This is a deep reading, and it speaks like Shrek. Ogres have layers and onions have layers, and this has layers. And I feel like it's got a bigger collective message. Anyway, I would like to thank you for following us so far, and I always mention leaving comments and my appreciation for those who support us through coffee or e-transfers or literal coffee or in some other way. And I'd like to thank people like Dean, the Dancing Machine, Suzanne, Elaine, Heather, Philomene, Judy, and there's so many more of you that give your support, and that's really helpful to us in these times. So, miigwech, nyawen, and we'll see you next week with more shadow.